Liberal leader Michael Ignatieff joins us from Ottawa, and I guess we should start with congratulations, although sometimes I got to say that party leaders take a lot of hits, so I'm not sure whether congratulations are in order, but let's start on that note. You had a chance to talk with the Prime Minister a couple of hours ago, and I'm wondering what happened in that discussion on the phone.
Peter, thanks for your congratulations. It was a short conversation, businesslike. The Prime Minister asked to meet me to talk about the budget coming up on the January 28th, and he asked to talk about parliamentary business. And those are appropriate subjects for us to talk about, but I made it clear that I don't want to get into secret negotiations or backdoor deals. I'm there to listen to the Prime Minister because he's the Prime Minister of Canada, and then we'll decide what we have to do from there.
So you will go ahead with that meeting, no preconditions?
I'm willing to meet the Prime Minister of Canada, certainly.
Well, I asked that because I had the sense listening to you earlier today that in terms of any, he talked last night here about reaching out to you, listening to your ideas about what should be in the budget, that you were suggesting today you won't get into any kind of a discussion like that until you hear the numbers. You want to know exactly what the country's books say about the state of the country's finances. Is that a precondition?
I think it's essential for, not just for between politicians, but it's essential for the citizens of our country to understand what the true fiscal picture of our government is. The Toronto Dominion Bank is estimating that the deficit next year will be $10 billion. That's a big number. The autumn statement didn't give us any accurate picture of the true state of where we are, and we can't have any discussion of where our national future lies unless the government comes clean with its estimates, not just for next year, but over the next 3 or 4 year cycle. And when we have those numbers, then informed Canadians can sit around and figure out where we go next.
But in saying that they need to come clean, you seem to be saying that they've cooked the books, that the numbers there are not the real numbers. You heard him last night, or I'm sure you've at least read reports of what he said last night. He has nothing to apologize. He's made no mistakes. He has no regrets. He wouldn't change anything he's done the last couple of weeks, or the numbers that were in that economic statement. It seems hard to believe he's suddenly going to say, well, actually, I did microwave the numbers, and they're not; those aren't the real ones.
Well, the Prime Minister, I don't want to torque up the rhetoric here, but the Prime Minister, I think, has a problem with truthfulness. During the election campaign, he said, no deficit. During the election campaign, he said no recession. Now we got both a recession and a deficit. It's time to level. It's time to talk turkey together. It's time to figure out what's really going on. And on the basis of that, then at least Canadians know where we are. The government owes an obligation of truth, not to politicians, but to the citizens of the country. And I think that we have not had the full picture that we need to make the decisions that we as a country have to make.
I know you don't want to negotiate in public, and I understand that, but are those the kind of things you'd say to him in the kind of sit-down meeting he's asked for?
Well, Peter, I try to make a rule that what I say to the citizens of my country, I'm also prepared to say in private to the Prime Minister, always respectfully, always in a constructive way, but I don't have one message for the Prime Minister and one message for the public.
Where's the state of the coalition? I've heard you've probably been asked that 50 times today, and a lot of people are trying to parse the words of your answer, and some members of your own caucus and your own party are sort of whispering in the hallways that, we're not there with the NDP the way we were a week ago. Under Michael Ignatieff, it's going to be different than with Stéphane Dion. Is anything different on the state of the coalition tonight?
Well, Peter, I can tell you that I had a short conversation with Jack Layton tonight. I had a short conversation with Monsieur Duceppe tonight. I felt that I informed them that I saw no reason to renegotiate the coalition agreement made by my predecessor. I made it clear to them, and I hope I make it clear to Canadians, that we are not in coalition together. I can only represent the interests of the Liberal Party, not other parties, and I'm going to listen to Mr. Harper as the leader of my party, not the leader of any other party. And I've made it clear to the caucus and to the country that if Mr. Harper has put us in this situation. He's lost the confidence of the House of Commons, and it's up to him to find a way to regain that confidence. And we've seen no evidence that he can or will. But as a responsible politician, I have to try and serve the national interest here, and if we can have productive discussions, again, not negotiations in secret, but just if he can come forward with a budget that serves the national interest of our country, then there might be something to talk about here.
You make it sound, and you've done this a couple of times today, that both Mr. Layton and Mr. Ignatieff are partners with you in the coalition. Are all three parties in this coalition? I thought there were just two.
The agreement is between Mr. Layton's party and my party, with a concurrence in a separate agreement with Mr. Ignatieff. It's all down on paper. There are no secrets. It's available for public inspection and discussion. And I've concluded this agreement forms the basis. Were the Governor General to turn to us to form a coalition government. But we're on the 10th of December, Peter, and the events that we're discussing or hypothesizing about would only occur after the budget on the 26th of January. And men and women in political life need to listen to our fellow citizens over Christmas. We need to reflect carefully on what the best way forward for the country is, and I feel confident we can find a way forward.
I'm going to leave it at that for tonight, but we look forward to talking to you. I know you're at a party of Liberal Party members tonight, and it was nice of you to pop out for a few minutes to talk with us. Michael Ignatieff and all. Thanks again.
My pleasure, Peter. Thank you so much.